assistant to cover the professionalization process of the teaching profession for female teachers in Baden and Württemberg.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, I'm coming from the University of Education in Ludwigsburg. That's in southwest Baden-Württemberg. Baden-Württemberg is a state nowadays. It's a union of Württemberg and Baden. And Württemberg and Baden, they have different cultures in schooling, different cultures in teacher professionalization. So it's also different to the Preußen Prussia development. So yes, I structure my presentation. First, I would like to present my intention of my research project. Second, a short, brief glance at the secondary structure of the educational system, because if or discuss about education, you have to differ between its public school like this, or it's a school where these daughters attend the Schulten paper. And third, the arguments of the opposition that has to be overcome before female teachers are accepted in the public school system. Then I will show a model of independence I created to analyze and interpret the process of professionalization of female teacher, and at the end, short conclusions and trends. Yes, the intention of my research project is I start in the 19th century, in the middle of the 19th century, and there we don't have any female teacher in the public school system. So only it's a male domain. It wasn't 100 years ago, but at that moment when the state ruled the school, it was a male domain teaching. So nowadays, I think we have the same situation, maybe, like we do, that teaching is it's a female profession nowadays, but it used to be a male profession in the 19th century. So my question, what happened between these 160 years? What's the reason for this change? First of all, the glance at the structure. We did have two parts in the educational system, in the public educational system, two separate parts, and we had a deep gap between these parts. On the one hand, we have the lower school system, or the lower school sector, with the public schools, like a school like this, it's on this picture, yeah? A public school for people with a lower social background, and this, on the other hand, we have the higher school sector, and we have different segregation criteria. Yes, the first criteria is, I think, the social background, because students have to pay fees to be at school. And the fees on the higher school sector, they were extremely high, so it's only possible to afford these fees for the middle class or bourgeois families. The lower school sector, and we have a gender criteria. On the lower school sector, we have also a criteria of religion or confession. It was really especially in Göttingen until, I think, until 1945, until the end of, or 1933. In Württemberg, the lower school sector was supervised by church. It was supervised by church. The church was okay to do that in all of the state. But it was really, they decided the employment of teacher, and we do have Protestant public schools, and there are only Protestant children and only Protestant teachers. We have Catholic public schools on the lower school sector, and also only Catholic teacher, only Catholic pupils. And we have Jewish. In the 19th century, we have a lot of Jewish also in Württemberg schools. So the segregation criteria on the lower school sector was confessional and religious, and on the other hand, on the higher school sector, there was the segregation criteria gender, because there exist only schools for boys in the beginning, public schools. Yeah? We had a lot of private girls' schools, but not schools. And the first higher girls' school was established 1893 in Baden, in Karlsruhe, and it was a teacher female association who forced for this first girls' gymnasium. Yes. So in this structure, and it makes a difference if you discuss female teachers in the lower school sector because of the supervised by church, or you look at the higher school sector. So there existed different arguments against female teachers. If you look at the general public school, there was a fear that female teacher would diminish the importance of the general schools, or there was a fear that female teacher would influence the boys, and they would not have these masculine qualities as if there are female teacher in school, or male general school teachers opposed the employment of female teachers as these were mainly from higher social background. It differs. The male teachers on the lower school sector used to come from a lower social background as the female teachers. So it's not only a gender question, it's also a question of social backgrounds of teaching. On the higher school sector and university expansion, so you know these arguments, you showed some of them. Women were a danger to the male spirit of science in higher schools and universities, or you find arguments women didn't have mental capacity necessary for university education due to the smaller size of the brain, or their physical constitution, menstruation, pregnancy, and its accompanying symptoms. You see, there are different arguments if you analyze the discourse, but the arguments differ if you look at the lower or the higher sector of this school system. With this model, I try to analyze and to interpret this process of professionalization of female teacher, as well the lower sector and in the higher sector. First of all, you see with different agents. Different agents will influence the process of professionalization. You have governments, of course, state, with these regulations, with control, so-called top-down processes, and we also have some bottom-up processes by the female teacher associations or female or women associations. These different agents, they have two possibilities to influence this process of professionalization. On the one hand, they can influence this process in indirect control if they take influence of the educational system. If you change, it changes in the educational system will influence the professionalization process. If you implement a new subject, so you have to look for people, for teachers who can teach that new subject. On the other hand, there's a direct control and I will like to explain by a few examples what I mean with this two top-down process by government control. This direct control, the state is the example of introduction of state-controlled teachers' examination. Also for teachers. In the beginning we had this only for the male, because female teachers, they teach in the private system. That was not very important and was not really in state. The state was not interested in the quality of this private teaching. So, but in the 19th century, at the end of the 19th century, state introduced, also in Württemberg and Baden, they introduced teacher examination for female teachers with some standards. Introduction of celibacy for female teacher. Yeah, they are not allowed. They are not allowed to marry. They are allowed, but they would quit their job if they want to marry. And we had this until 1952. It was abolished in the beginning of the Weimar Republic, the first democracy in Germany, but due to the economic situation, they found ways to quit female teacher if they are married, because they say, okay, she has a husband, and the husband can take care of her and give her money, so it's not really necessary that she earns her own money. Restrictions concerning the status of employment. In the beginning of female teachers were only terminated contracts. They were not allowed with the status of lifetime employment. The introduction of quota regulations. We found this in Baden and Württemberg. It's about 5 or 8% of the teachers in the lower school sector that's allowed that female teachers were and the indirect control, transformation of private girls' school for higher education in state schools. In 1877, in Baden and in Württemberg, the state decided, okay, it's no longer only a private field to educate the higher education of girls. We have to do something to care about that. And they decided if some private girls' school want to be state-run schools, they have to there are some regulations, and they have to fulfill these regulations on this stage. Then the dissemination of the universities for women, I already mentioned that at 1907, I really remember in Croatia, that women are accepted at the university.
Just to listen on fields.
Just to listen, yes, but not.
1902, in the first female students in faculty of Zagreb, but in medicine faculty in Vienna, in the beginning of the 20th century, the first students, and this declaration of emperor who needs female physicians in Bosnia and Herzegovina about Muslims family and problematic.
It was really, that's a very interesting discourse to decide that women are accepted as full students. So, the first stage in Germany was Baden, who accepted women at the university in Freiburg and in Heidelberg. These two universities, they accepted women as full students, the first stage, and Württemberg 1904, Prussia 1908. Then the establishment of the Grundschule as a primary school for all children. That's really interesting, this establishment, because before we had Volksschule, public school, and with the Weimar Republic, it was the Grundschule. It should be a school where all children are learning together from all social backgrounds. That was really new, because before the higher school sector has its own elementary schools, yes, to prepare the children to continue in a gymnasium or higher education. Yes, a problem was this in Württemberg, because these female teachers who teach in the elementary schools from the higher school sector, they had to move in the Grundschule. And the Grundschule was supervised by the church. So the church accepted only these women, the same fashion and religion, and so that they have to change from the higher school system to the lower. Yeah, and at the end, examples for these bottom-up by non-state agents, direct control was the establishment of seminar courses for female teachers, private seminars, because the state don't establish any courses. And this was Johannes Buhl. He started 1850 in Ludwigsburg, where I'm coming from, and it was in Protestant seminar for Protestant female teacher. So, and the employment control by church in lower school sector. So that just mentioned that. The indirect control, successful fight for introducing needlework in the general public school. That was very interesting. I found that in the sources that the Women Association, they fought for to implement needlework in the public school, and it was accepted. But now the schools were forced to employ women, because the male teacher can't teach needlework. So it was a possibility for women to get a step up in the sector in Baden. The opening of the first girls' gymnasium, it's only also from the Female Teacher Association. It was from a radical female teacher association. There we have the different scope of different associations. So yeah, but you see that are only some examples, and I try to try to analyze this process with the motive of independence. I look which agents, what are they doing, directly or indirectly, and to come back to the gender roles, this process led to a shift of this strict gender roles at the end. It's only also very important that the development in the Southwest differ to the one in Prussia. It's really different. And it's a problem if in some books you read that that's a German development, but it's only Prussia. So you have to look at it. States, the different developments in the states. Thank you very much.